Welcome to this edition of the $1 Million Mastermind Podcast. This is where we pick the brains of high achievers from all walks of life and get their hard-earned, real-world insights on winning. I'm your host, Larry Weidel. I'm here talking with Lee Haney, and we're going to wrap up this crazy afternoon together. And I'm going to put this question to you, Lee, based off something you said, and get you to kind of elaborate on it, because I know you've got your thoughts coming together on this subject, because you've already told me you're getting ready to speak to a group up in South Carolina or whatever. And so it's like this. You're going to talk about having a plan, but, you know, the other phrase I got earlier on is where you said that SEAL said, you are what you eat and the company you keep. And the plan should have something to do with what you eat and the company you keep. That should be a part of your plan. What does that trigger in your mind? What would you say about those ideas?
Well, you know, you are what you eat and the company you keep. And, you know, being around the right company, because I remember my grandmother saying that, you know, if you play with trash, it'll blow in your eye. So you got to be very careful with who you surround yourself by, because we can become a product, or will become a product of our environment. So at the age of 9 years, I gave my life to Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior of my life. That's number one. And when you hang out with the Lord, and I say hang out, that means fellowship with the relationship. Fellowship and relationship goes together. I love how the Lord showed his disciples and walked among the people and gave them a great example of what it means to be a real man. And so when you follow along the characteristics of Christ as to what he done, he healed the sick, he gave hope, he did all of these things, you know, and never was high-minded and walked beyond that of being humble. He was always humble. And that makes all the difference. I think that's the greatest attribute that a man can have, humility in his journey, because it puts fire in the hearts of other men. Humility means a lot. And so, in having Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior of my life, that has meant everything to me in being the man that I am today.
When you said at 8 years old?
9 years old.
9 years old. Okay. I did at 8. So
okay.
same thing. And yes, so but having a plan, you know, and so you got to make decisions about your life.
That's right.
And things you know, it's like you just don't roll out of bed one day and then you're an Olympic champion in anything. And right. So it's a big plan, but then a plan for using the 24 hours in the day. The people that reach the top get more of the right. They get more of the right things done. It's not that they work the hardest.
Right.
They work hard. They work crazy, but they are working on the right things, and they know they're the right things because they're getting the results. You know, when you dived into the bodybuilding world, you followed the formula, you followed the track record of other people, but then you had to compete. You know, at some point you got to compete.
Right.
You know, you start a business, you know, you're in a sport. If you play a musician instrument, at some point you got to get up in front of people and play, you know, right. And so that tells you the results, tell you whether or not you're on track or not, you know, and it tells you what you need to improve. Talk about having a plan. When you get in front of these people and you're going to be talking about having a plan, what do you want them to walk away with as a main thought?
Well, number one, if you're going to be a man, you got to have a plan. Yeah. And God's predetermined the plan from day one. It's pretty simple. He said, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. You know, being fruitful means being a blessing in the earth, being a positive, using your time and your energies to impact the world for good. Replenishing the earth, oh, well, guess what? He gave a man a wife. He said a man should take a wife and be fruitful. That means children, generations being created, a godly seed being established in the earth. You know, so that's the plan. And then the Bible also speaks of the beginning of knowledge and wisdom is the reverence of God, knowing that God is. And if you're going to have a plan, you gotta humble yourself and reach out to the architect of the plan.
Right.
If you're not in contact with the creator of the plan, you're never going to know the plan.
Yeah.
Which means you're never going to reach your point of destiny in which God has designed for you.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a great friend in our company who he retired and he wrote a book, and his first chapter was, "There is a God and it's not you."
That's important to know right there. Yeah. That's a very good one. I think I'll use that one, Larry.
Yeah, that's a good starting point, you know?
Yeah, man.
Some people never get past that, you know? So
they never make it either.
Yeah, and you're fighting a battle you can't win, folks, if you're fighting that battle.
Right.
Lee, you want to wrap this up with a kind of a closing comment to everybody? This has been so much fun today. And, you know, what would you wrap up and pass on as a final word, let's say?
Well, Larry, one of my other proverbs I love, and it goes like this, is that what you are is God's gift to you. He's gifted all of us with a talent. It's a gift. All of us have one. Nobody is without it. Once you get with him, you will be able to realize what it is, and that talent will be birthed in you, and you can use it for the good. So what you are is God's gift to you. But then what you make of yourself by exercising and working that talent is your gift back to God.
Yeah. Lee, this has been fantastic. And I'm so proud of all your endeavors. Looking forward to seeing all of these things compound and grow, because in a lot of these things, you're in a situation where you put in the time and the foundation, and they really can compound and multiply, you know, with your training program, with your games and things like that. So I'm going to look forward to seeing all that happen. And maybe you and I could get together down the road and we can talk about all the new adventures you've made happen. Thanks so much, Lee.
Thanks, Larry. God bless you. I appreciate you. Hopefully I'll get to see Big Adam at the games this year, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for listening to the $1 Million Mastermind. If you felt there were any valuable takeaways from this episode, please take a minute and leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback is important and really helps us get the word out to a wider audience. Remember, we have a valuable webinar that is absolutely free. Register for it right now at whitealumwinning.com. Thanks for listening.